Welcome to the Douglas Conservation Commission meeting of Monday, May 8th, 2023. It's 7:06 p.m. My name is Kitty Grace Studley. I'm vice chair, acting as chair for Tracy Sharkey, who is absent this evening. I'll go around the room with the roll.
Eric Harris here.
Mike Greco here.
Mark Mungem here.
Excellent. Starting with the discussion item 1, orders to be signed and mailed. We have the DEP 401 water quality certification update included in our packages. We also have a letter of intent from for 61B on Walnut Street. And that's available. That package includes all the data. We've seen this property before.
Yeah.
We acted on Lot 1 before, didn't we? Not Lot 2? This is Lot 2?
It's Lot 2.
What happened with Lot 1?
They got approved for the town to exercise the right of first refusal.
Oh, it did?
They did it.
Oh, they did.
But we sent them a recommendation, which was our action.
Correct. I wanted to know what action they actually took.
Wow. Yeah, I believe, since they asked for a building permit, I believe that the town didn't have any. I'm not 100%
Understood.
sure, but
Okay, but they're not asking for an action in this place. This is an intent.
Asking for our recommendation again
Okay.
on this other lot, the adjacent lot. In my opinion, being that the town didn't take action on Lot 1, there's no need for us to recommend taking action on Lot.
So is our recommendation then that the town not take action? All right.
Yep.
I will entertain a motion to provide the recommendation to the town that they not take their right of first refusal with regard to Lot 2 on Walnut Street as referenced by the letter of intent that we have in our packages.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, made by Mark, seconded by Mike. Roll call vote.
Eric Harris,
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Katie Dudley, aye. Thank you. We have meeting minutes from March 6th. Did anyone have the opportunity to review them?
I have not.
I looked at it and see major.
Okay. Mike, did you have any thoughts on it?
Say that again?
Did you have thoughts about the minutes of March 6th, 2020?
No, it's the first time I've seen them.
Okay. Do you want to take time to review them, or do you want to move on Eric's review?
I say go with Eric's read them,
Mark?
go with his recommendation, whatever.
I'm fine with his recommendation that they look good.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of Monday, March 6th, 2023 without amendment.
So move.
Motion made by Mike, seconded by Eric. Roll call vote.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Thank you. Item number 3, we have a potential member applicant. We have an applicant in the room. Do we have an applicant online?
Is that a topic?
No, not tonight. All right, we'll move forward. We'll go back to it if the member appears. All right, so discussion 3A is a story walk along the Snet Trail as an Eagle project by Ethan Chisholm, sorry. Please come up and speak with us then.
Okay, able to give her permission, thanks.
Do I have permission?
Okay. Kind of introduce yourself to the commission.
Hello, my name is Ethan Chisholm. I am a Boy Scout in Troop 316, and I am hoping to propose a story walk for the Southern New England Trunkline Trail. I have a short presentation that we've set up.
Oh, excellent.
Actually,
If I can show it. Sorry. All your things are just hiding what I need to say. Oh. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Under slideshow,
Yeah.
up,
Yeah, hit Control 5, use
There we go.
F5.
there you go.
All right, sorry about that.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, yes, this is my story walk. So a little bit about me. As I said, I'm Ethan Chisholm. I live in Douglas. I'm 17 years old. I'm a junior at the Norfolk County Agricultural High School and I'm currently majoring in marine biology. So as I mentioned, I'm a member of Scout Troop 316. I've been a member since I was 7 years old, and I'm currently a member of the Order of the Arrow, which is essentially the honor society of Boy Scouts. I have attended summer camp for 8 years. I have participated in a high adventure trip to a place called Sea Base in the Florida Keys. There's actually a picture of me at Sea Base. I have currently earned 36 merit badges, and I'm currently life rank working on Eagle.
Excellent.
So this is what the Story Walk project is. Should I go closer to the mic or?
You move the mic closer to yourself.
Okay. All right. So a story walk. So what is a story walk? A story walk is a interactive activity that promotes reading, exercise, outdoor exploration. They essentially feature a set of stations kind of similar to plaques that each feature a different page of a children's book. The idea being that as the family walks along the trail, they'll read each page and be able to read a whole book as they walk. I believe this project will be a fun and educational activity and while also promoting outdoor exercise and activity. So the current location is on the Southern New England Trunkline Trail starting at Depot Street and ending at Franklin Street. It will consist of 14 stations covering roughly a quarter mile with approximately 100 feet between each station. All maintenance and care for the stations will be entirely cared for by the library. And there's a map.
Oops, sorry.
There was a map.
There is a map. Thank you.
There's a map. All right. So here is a model of what each Storywalk station consists of. They are going to be made with pressure-treated wood. They will be secured in the ground using deck spikes. These deck spikes will allow for it to be removed if any maintenance on the trail is necessary. I know there is. I believe I heard there was something coming up with the Southern New England Trunkline Trail in the near future.
There had been, but that's been postponed indefinitely.
Oh, okay. And the whole design and location has been approved by Kevin Hollingworth of the Southern New England Trunkline Trail.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yep, there's a timeline. All fundraising has been completely completed. And currently I'm working on obtaining supplies. I have obtained all the wood. It's mostly just the non-wood parts of the project that are going to be bought. Construction of the stations is scheduled for May 27th, which will just involve the Boy Scouts coming together and constructing it. And installation will be on June 23rd. And I believe that is it.
Excellent.
Do you have any questions?
I do. It's an excellent presentation. Thank you very much for coming and giving that to us. It was very informative and helpful.
Thank you.
The expectation is that, well, actually, my first question, the construction, are you doing that on site or are you doing that at a different site?
We are doing it at a different site.
Okay. And then the installation, are you going to dig holes for the spikes or are you going to hammer them into the ground?
I believe we are hammering them into the ground.
Okay.
Whatever will work,
Okay.
I suppose.
You're not expecting to use anything more than hand tools, is what I'm gathering.
No, I am not expecting to use anything. I'm not going to use an excavator.
Okay.
Don't worry.
That's where we're going. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So you're not expecting any machinery? of any
No,
kind?
not at all.
Absolutely. Excellent. Fantastic. Board, do we have any questions?
Are they on both sides of the trail or one side of the trail?
Just one side.
Do you know what side you're going on just yet?
Before I continue, do you mean as in like the side of the trail as in from like that way or like?
Left to right, so if you're,
Yeah,
you're
right.
you're gonna start here.
Yes.
At the end of Depot, and take a right.
Yes, that is.
As you're walking, as you take the right and walking that way, which is west.
I was like, let's use cardinal direction.
On the sign, gonna be on the left side or right side of the trail?
They will be on the left side, but they can be moved to the right side if that is more convenient.
There is a wetland or vernal pool that's on the left side
Okay.
of the trail. Putting them on the right side would move them a little further away from the wetland area. I don't know if that's necessary or not, but that was why I asked the question.
No, that's a good question. We just want to make sure that during the course of installation, you wouldn't inadvertently cause any erosion.
Yes, I understand that.
And then do you have DCR approval?
We needed Kevin's approval.
Yes.
DCR sent us to him.
Yes.
What organization is Kevin from?
He's the manager of the Southern New England Trunkline Trail.
Yeah.
For that section.
So he is he's associated with DCR?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. The clarification,
It's
thank you.
It's state property.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay.
Just making sure the location for biking and
Yeah.
motorized vehicles that might use that it's off the trail as approved by the appropriate agency.
Yes.
Absolutely. Did you get his approval via just verbally or a letter? Or do you have an email?
We have an email, I believe.
Yeah.
Signature.
So I don't have any issue here, and I don't know if the board can speak if they do, but I would, for our records, if you could forward that email on to Steve so we have the record, I'd appreciate that.
Of course.
Excellent.
Of course.
I would just say, I would look to see how far off of the center line of the trail that he's going to want these signposts placed.
All right.
And I wouldn't want them to be on that bank to that
Wetland.
pool wetland area that is adjacent. So if that would be the case, I would prefer they be on the right side of the trail.
Okay. We will.
Check that with him.
All right.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay. Is there anything else? Or?
Nice job.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, I gotta release this, huh? Okay, hold on. Sorry. Oh, gosh.
All right.
You know what, come home again? That's it, all right.
All right, then, item number 4 is a review and update for our CRG.
I think we have Art Island here.
Yep.
Hi, Art. And I don't know if we have anyone from CRG. They were invited. Good job. Maybe Art can give an update on, there's been some correspondence in the last week or so, specifically regarding stabilization of side slopes. So, I don't know, Art, if you want to kind of give an update to the commission, what do you think about the site and that issue in particular?
Sure. Thanks, Steve. Hello, everybody. Art Allen from Ecotech, the Commission's peer review monitor for the project. Noted in my May 2nd site inspection memo, there were some additional issues as a result of some of the recent rain out there. They had spread quite a bit of topsoil the week before the rain started, and it was not stabilized. I know they were in the process of hiring landscapers and trying to get seed down, but it didn't happen before the rain event. We had additional silt fence breaches on the east side of the site and on the north side, so those slopes that had been partially stabilized previously. The silt fences were overtopped and compromised, and they had off-site discharges. The SWICA folks who do their SWPPP, SWIP monitoring, they had noted on the north side, they had noted turbid water all the way to Gilboa Pond, which is a good distance from their limit of work, so
Right.
they had a lot of material running off the site in one of those storms. I know they were going to follow up immediately. The last SWICA report I just read from their inspection on Friday, the 5th, said that they were taking some steps, but it did not appear that they had corrected everything as of Friday. I was looking for an update from them, which I haven't seen since my inspection, so I was hoping they would be on tonight to give myself and the commission an update, information that they had these issues under control, but I guess there's nobody here from
See if we can jump.
Yep,
CIG.
absolutely. Thank you, Art. No, I'd like to see an update to them as well, assuming.
Art, do you know if they cleaned up the sediment that was disposed of beyond the fence above wetlands?
As of Friday's SWIP inspection from SWCA, they had not cleaned that. That appeared to be one of their recommendations from Friday. I plan to go back this week, but I haven't been out there yet. This week to follow up, I was again hoping that there'd be an update from them tonight and I'd know the status and when I needed to go back, but
Yes, I
I
agree.
know they've done some work since my inspection, but I don't believe they've done everything they've been asked to do. And again, I mean that, with a little bit better planning and timing, I mean, these things should have been anticipated, all the way through the project. I mean, they've not been very good about, communicating when they have issues, and then their kind of housekeeping out there has not been ideal. I mean, there's a lot more difficult sites out there, as you folks know.
Right.
I mean, this is an old gravel pit. I mean, this should have been a relatively easy site to control, and they've had numerous issues both on their slopes within the project site and then down at the bridge. At least the bridge is coming together at this point. They've basically stabilized the abutments on both sides, and they've added some additional controls because I've been expressing concerns about the road they have on the south side is a long, currently gravel road leading down to the abutments and the river on the south side of the river, and I've been expressing concern about that right along. That, I mean, as you folks know, I mean, a one-year storm is only about 2.5 inches.
Right.
This region, I mean, statistically, that happens once a year, and we haven't seen a 1-inch storm yet. And if we get that much rain, if not more, I mean, there's going to be more problems out there. So.
Yep, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm extremely disappointed by their response, that Mr. Lemaster said he was going to have a schedule for when they were going to make the repairs and do the seeding for this meeting, and they were going to be present for this meeting, and to have them not here
Yep.
is very disappointing. You know,
I agree.
That's wrong. So, they are not reacting to whatever we ask of them.
No, I don't think we're being taken
following
seriously.
Or following the guidelines that are part of their plan.
Correct. They're causing unnecessary impact to the resource areas.
I mean, I don't recommend stop work orders too often, but it may be time for that in this case.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what I want to, when Steve comes back, I want to see what his thoughts are, what our options are for recourse. Because I want to be able to do something that makes them understand that we're very serious.
I
Well, I'll
sent,
certainly be following up this week, and I'll send correspondence when I do that, and get you an update regardless of what you do in the meantime.
Okay. They don't know. Can you turn off? Okay, great.
Not sure what I did.
Oh, I wasn't going to blame you.
Oh, good. Probably turned something off.
I mean, what I'm most concerned about is not just some of the erosion that's occurred and the sediment that's gotten past the silt fence and the protections that's occurred, but that, we're, what is it, May 9th today?
Yep.
And, a good time to seed and mulch in this area is from the 1st of April to the first week of May, pretty much. After
Okay.
that, it gets pretty warm, and there's less rain, and it's harder to get germination because of that.
Right.
So, they're kind of missing their opportunity, and that's really disappointing.
Still on the ball?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so I just called Todd. He's at another meeting.
Okay.
He's going to call Tom McMaster.
Okay.
And hopefully, I said, well, Art probably going to be here for another review and then gone by 8 o'clock. So if they can get someone on here to give us an update,
Okay.
where they stand, that'd be great.
Otherwise, we're talking about what our options are for recourse as a board. Can we issue something like a stop work, or can we issue something like a fine? Is it considered a violation if they have multiple issues that they haven't resolved in a timely manner? What are the standards for us to take action towards them?
Well, Art, maybe you want to weigh in because he's been really overseeing the project. Has it caused any violations with runoff from the side slope not being stabilized? Or is it just something that, they're not responding to, like Mark said, they're missing the window of opportunity? So,
No, they've had, there's been, I can count them, but there's been 4 or 5 episodes where they've, had a discharge to resource areas, and each one of those is a separate violation. So, yeah, at this point, they're clearly in violation. If the commission chose to issue enforcement and stop work until they're back in compliance, I think you'd be well within your rights to do that.
Okay.
yeah, it's 2 weeks to, maybe I would recommend having that go through, since Art's the major overseer, have it go through, the commission want to direct him to say what he's seeing, a letter, recommendations, strongly recommending that have everything in compliance by our next meeting,
Is our next meeting in 2 weeks?
the 22nd.
So yes.
Which is, I think we got a 10-day period, but hopefully that have Art send something official on behalf of the commission.
Okay.
If that's what I'm not sure, it's up to the commission. If you're gonna send something, instead of doing a violation right now, maybe send something stronger, not stronger, but send them a letter saying, listen, we're not getting any response, please update us within 2 weeks.
Before the next meeting. Is that, so are we saying if they don't resolve it, then we give a violation? Or are you not recommending that we just issue a
Well, I hate to
violation
say
at this point?
something, it's unfortunate that there's no one here to
Okay.
talk it out.
But they were asked to come to this meeting. They said they were coming to this meeting. So to give them another opportunity doesn't seem correct to me when they said they were going to be here.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
That's ignoring us.
So I told Todd to give it until 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Hopefully
We'll
someone
give it to
shows
8
up.
o'clock then. All right, we'll move on to the next agenda item. which I put away in the agenda. So we are at review and update for BWC Whiten Reservoir from 45 Oak Street.
Hi again, I'm Alan from
Also,
Ecotech Peer
I'm
Review.
the project manager for Mill Creek Renewables, Blue Waves EPC contractor,
Name and address for the record?
45 Oak Street.
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead, Art.
Yeah, just again, representing the commission, peer review consultant. At this point, since my last report, they put in the required site entrance, which was one of the first items in their sequence of construction. So the stone, the entrance has been cleared, the stabilized stone entrance is installed. I reviewed or inspected that late last week. My other comment before they start into the larger site, that they should also have they have a laydown and parking area that's supposed to be right off of that construction entrance, that they need to put that in before they start any additional work moving into the site. As the commission's probably aware, the trees have been cleared, but there's been no stumping or any significant earth disturbance. All the woody material is still on site, again, until they get the entrance in and the road and get some of their stormwater controls in. They haven't done any of that additional work in the site, but they need to get that laydown and parking area in, so they have a safe, secure way to get, vehicles off the street and into the site, so they can stage and move further in. So basically, as soon as they do that, I'll re-inspect, and then they should be ready to start moving wood off the site and start building the road and the stormwater controls. So that's about where they are right now.
Okay.
One of the concern I'm hearing is that this timing of when they're going to do the detention ponds, which are going to act as settlement basins before they really start going anywhere into the site. I'm not sure if you picked up on that on the construction schedule that they have, and maybe the developer can talk a little bit about the timing of when they're going to be. There's a basin at the bottom of the hill, right out by the entrance, and there's one where they have to clear the trees. And so there were some concerns on when is that going to be implemented? Is it going to be the first thing they do before they haul any of the trees off site, or are they going to haul the trees off and stump them, or when is that going to take place?
Okay. Absolutely.
So I can speak to that a bit.
Yeah, do you want to come?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that is our first intention, once we get to site, once we get the building permit, is to install these basins for the sediment control, and then we'll continue with the rest of the road entrance and the stumping and grubbing of the remainder of the site.
So you're going to put the basins in prior?
Yeah, that's number one, once we get the building permit approved.
Okay, good.
Okay. Excellent.
That's fine.
All right.
That's what we're looking for.
Oh, perfect. That's easy.
Board, any other concerns or questions with this site? All right. Thank you for the update.
Oh, no problem at all.
Appreciate you being here.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Excellent. Our next item, number 6, is a discussion with Brian Keevan, 41 Pine Street donation from 2014. Wait for Steve to come back.
Should I come forward?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, please do. And then name and address for the record.
Brian Keevan, 32 Myrick Road, Princeton, Massachusetts. Hello, Art.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Good. I'm also, I currently serve as chair of our town's Conservation Commission, so Art lives in my town and we see each other all the time, so.
Oh, that's exciting. All right, fantastic. You printed this email in large print.
Oh, the chain of emails that I found from all those years ago? I should have printed them out. I didn't think to print them out for myself, but I kind of remember being here. Well, maybe over there. But in this building.
2018, huh?
2014.
14.
Oh, we go back to 2014?
Right, right. Were any of you on the commission at that point?
Not I.
It was on open space.
Well, good, because open space and commission need to be working together here on this. That's what happened in my town. We bought, there was an old farm that, through a massive effort, got conserved in town, and Conservation Commission ended up owning like 130 acres of it. Open space swooped right in and put trails in, bridges, and got orders of condition to put bridges over wetlands, and it's pretty neat that it happened, so.
So
Seems like a nice synergy to have. You guys are busy with NOIs and orders, and you know.
We are.
It's hard, I understand, to get a, the extra effort from a bunch of volunteers to do extra work beyond what you have.
for sure. So I guess while we're waiting for Steve to come back, can you give me the backstory about this? I'm unfamiliar with this particular parcel.
My parents bought that farm from the Crosbys in 1970. They believed at the time it was 66 acres. Turns out after it got surveyed a couple of different times throughout the 80s, as they were working to sell off frontage lots, turned out to be about 100 acres, just through, misrepresented acreages and deeds and whatever. But finally, when Andrews kind of pieced it all together, it was about 100 acres.
Okay. You went from 66 to 100.
They gained land by doing nothing.
Okay.
And in 1970, they bought the whole thing for $15,000, house, barn, everything. When my father passed and my mother wanted to kind of sell it off, it was just too much. But
Yep.
she ended up going to Florida, but wanted to give something back to the town. And put together a plan with Mike Yurka and the realtor who she was working with, Fred something or other, I'm not sure his name, to take the core woodland in the back and donate that to the town. There was, it was where I grew up. Right? I'm a forester because I grew up there. I love those woods. I've got a nice, strong connection to those woods, and so did my dad. And my mom really wanted, to memorialize him in some way through this donation. So that's how we presented this project back in 2013, 2014 to the commission. And at that time, we worked with the advice of the commission to engineer, at least on paper, an access way and an easement for parking on Southeast Main to give anybody in town access. Right now it's just woods. You wouldn't even know there was a path there. You wouldn't even know there was access way there. It's a very narrow piece.
Okay.
And so there, it's on the GIS, right?
You're right.
Thank you.
And it shows up now on Mass Mapper or on Google Maps as the Southeast Main Conservation
We
Area.
hired a surveyor.
You did, okay.
Yeah, the town hired a surveyor, we had all the points, all the corners.
So you've monumented it, good,
I
yeah.
think we pinned them. And then, there's a nice wetland in there, nice stream in there, it's a beautiful site.
Yeah, the property itself has a stream, a wetland that flows through the western side, and it abuts a wetland over on that 3.4 acre parcel on the east. That's the one I was talking about earlier in the meeting. If you look at the current ortho photos for that lot, there's a lot of clearing going on back there right abutting a wetland. So just bringing that to the commission's attention tonight too. It's abuts your property, so you should know about it.
Yeah.
So this is where the parking area would be. The easement connects out to here. Went out and took some photos.
Yeah, I see the easement grant is in our package.
And I think Open Space is here too, so I know you worked, eventually Open Space was working with Bill Clintoff and John Farnell at one time, town engineer, and that way about working with the town because it's town property, get that area cleared. And then I know we looked at one time when we had other conservation land in the past, like the Van Mazinski land on Upper Mary
Right.
Doobie, or the one on U Street, that the DCR at the time, a guy named Bill Anise, I don't know if you remember Bill Anise. Kerry Van and that, they used to have a shop that they used to make all their signs with like the state forest, nice brown ones, and they used to water room, and So they used to donate some of that to us, but I don't think they do that anymore, so.
No, now they're all seem like they're composite plastic, and when you router into them, the brown gets chipped away and reveals the white behind it.
So I think the first step was the, trying to get the parking area put in.
Yep.
I do have some photos of,
There was discussion of signage, at the trailhead back in 2013, 2014. when
I
we
can
met.
see that in the correspondence, yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, Leon's sign.
something like that
was
is what we
put up.
discussed.
Yeah, something like that was what we discussed.
Even property, yeah.
Yeah, the image was included for, yeah.
Yep, I agree, yeah.
And it's just been, all right, these number of years, and my mom asks all the time, have you checked? Shirley Downs, friend of the family forever, contacted my mother and contacted me, and clearly contacted the commission to kind of put this back on the table, so it doesn't just get forgotten.
Really?
Okay.
This is what the parking lot looks, the area. Hard to see, so there's a house
It's
there.
dark when you took the picture. What's the date of this plan?
It would have been right about that time, 2013.
So is Elaine Keevan still the owner of the property with the easement?
Oh, no, it's all been, these frontage lots were all sold off.
Right.
But Elaine Keevan no longer owns any property here
Okay, so not even the one,
with the easement on it.
okay.
Right.
It's not an easement, it's a 10-foot wide neck.
But the easement for parking in the.
There's a parking
Oh,
easement on the
easement for
side
parking,
on one
right,
of the
yes, there's an
lots.
easement.
That's why I was asking.
So here's a lot, pretty much where the 10-foot easement would be, and then the parking, I think, is either on the left or right side. There's a little area.
So somebody else owns that property with that easement now?
They do.
Which should have been revealed to them when they bought that property.
Well, and that's, so I'm trying to catch up, but
Right.
thank you,
Right.
absolutely.
So this all went through town council and
Okay.
the lawyers with the easement and the drafting of the deed. So the question was with open space and a highway and the town engineer were collaborating to try and get it moved forward with the, town does the work, or Bill was gonna design, do the
Yeah.
engineering for the town, and we're gonna give the blessing because it was under the control of the commission.
Okay.
And, okay, that's nicely said. Is there a timeline for any of that?
I was going to say, I did have a name and address for the record, and could you have an update for us?
Sure, Lisa Mozinski, I'm with the Open Space Committee. Good to see you, it's been a long time. And Sue Perkins is also here, she's our chair. I believe, Sue, you might have more specifics, but we were out there, I think just before COVID started.
Okay.
And we were looking at the area where there could be parking and a trail into the property on that, I guess, that 10-foot space. There are big boulders in the way.
Okay.
And so what we wanted to do was try to work with the town, the DPW, to be able to move those somehow, but probably they have to be broken.
Okay.
In order to have a space to pull over, because Southeast Main Street has severe traffic speeding issues now, and it would be really dangerous to even just pull over and park on the side.
Yep.
But we hardly want to endorse the idea of signage there, because we want to celebrate these places and honor the people who thought of dedicating parcels to the town property. So we are all for this, and any way we can work, we've have this in our updated open space and recreation plan.
Okay.
Any way we can work with the commission to make this happen, we'd be happy to do so.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we would need to do some work to provide access to the sign. So Steve, what do you think that our next action would be?
Well, who's going to take the lead? Is the open space going to take the lead on working with Fermo, you think, on the parking? And start up where you left off, and then maybe the commission can work on the sign?
Okay.
We can if we have the support of the commission, because resources with John's department are tight too.
Yep.
So if you could give them a nudge, we'd be happy to try to work with them on that.
Okay, yeah, we can certainly do that. So as a commission, board, is this something we want to do? Do we want to reach out to highway department to talk about the parking situation? And then also look into our resources to see what we can do for signage?
Yep.
We most definitely do.
Okay.
I'm ashamed that we're 10 years
It's behind,
into this and we haven't done anything.
and we haven't moved forward,
And then,
yeah.
I would recommend maybe putting this on the agenda, and
Yes,
how long you want a couple of meetings, just to give an update.
absolutely, we should keep it on the agenda until it's done.
Okay.
Absolutely, it should retain as a standing item, because otherwise I'm going to forget to work on it,
Thank
so.
Signage, language, is there a model you want to use, or?
Well, we're going to use what our other signs are.
Yeah,
Have you seen them?
No, sorry, I don't get into town much anymore.
Well,
Okay.
it's a standard state DCR sign at Wallen Lake.
Okay.
right, but also the one in the Leon Mazinski land was a good example.
Yeah, wasn't his like a raw slab?
They're all brown with white.
They're all brown with white, so
Certain font with
unfortunately, this is a black and white image that's in our, well, and they've actually, this exists in real life now, this one actually might just be a
Oh,
rendering.
okay.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Right, so you'd get the space, there's another one on Route 16 heading out of town towards
Right.
Webster for that space as well, the Bill and East land.
Okay,
And then you can, if you want, you can put whatever you probably want underneath it.
absolutely, okay.
So these would probably be, they're all like this. And then Mary Lynn has her little dedicated to her. And then if you wanted something like that,
Could you email me
you
this?
can have that. And then
Okay. Then I'll send it.
I'm sure we could find it for you electronically.
That would be great, so I
Okay.
can send it
shoot me
down.
a reminder and I'll
Yeah.
send it over.
And
I'll take a color photo of it.
we'll offer, a little bit of something as a suggestion for,
Yes, please,
okay.
please,
Please.
absolutely.
Are we all set?
Yes, thank
All
you
right, thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll keep that as an agenda item on until we finish it. Okay, so that was item number 6. Item number 7, we have a request for extension on Jonathan Whipple, 88 West Street, DEP number 1430988. Yes, you can come up, name and address for the board.
It's Jonathan Whipple, and I'm currently at 14 Lindale Avenue, Webster, Mass., but 88 West Street is the project.
Excellent, thank you.
So the project's ongoing, he's actually started, it was approved by the commission 3 years ago, almost to the date, a little longer, but, so I talked to Jonathan out on the site, and his permit had expired, but the permit extension, because of the pandemic, is now that he's in that period.
He gets the extra,
So
yeah.
it's more of a procedural that he come and request an extension. You can give 1, 2, or 3 years. You typically give 3 years now, so you wouldn't run out of his time in the middle of this project. Just have the foundation in it, doing the work, the yard work as we speak.
Okay.
So that's all.
Board, what do we think? In that case, I'll entertain a motion to grant the extension for 3 years for 88 West Street.
So moved.
Motion made by Mike, seconded by Eric, roll call vote.
Mike Rocco, aye.
Mark Monjamai.
KG Dudley, aye.
So
Thank you very much.
I had that typed up tonight, they'll sign that, and then you gotta record it again.
At the registry, I do, okay. Okay, do you mail it to me like you did last time?
We can mail it, or we can call you if you want to pick it up.
I'd rather pick it up.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be
Then that's
great.
what we'll do.
Okay.
We'll tell you when it's ready,
Okay.
sometime this week.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Excellent.
Hey, Art Allen here, should I hang around, or?
Yeah, I would hang around, Todd is here, so if you can see, I know his time is from, he's about to go to another meeting, so the guy from Gilboa Street,
Okay, great.
if,
Yeah, I appreciate you giving us a few minutes. So I was able to push off my other meeting for about another 15 minutes or so. So
Okay.
I got a call probably about a half an hour ago from Mr. Zisk, and he explained that you were looking for somebody from the construction team to be here tonight to talk to you about some of Art's concerns. I tried to get in touch with a couple of folks from Clayco, could not get a hold of them. So I told Mr. Zisk that I'll push off my other meeting for as long as I can, and we'll deal with this. I know, I thank you for staying on longer than you probably had to, so I do appreciate that.
Okay. Great, thank you, Todd. Yeah, we have concerns with the site. It's the items that Art had brought up. We talked about them as a group. We're really frustrated with the number of violations that have not been resolved. As Art had said, this isn't a difficult site. A lot of the issues that have occurred should have been foreseen and prevented, and then after they occurred, they should have been cleaned up within the time frame. So we're looking to potentially, address them as violations, and we're potentially looking to issue a stop work.
Well, which of the items are pushing you towards that stop work? And, what can I do to work with the construction team to get those addressed? I know that, obviously that's not a resolution that we certainly want to see, and I understand your frustration. As I was discussing with Mr. Zisk earlier this evening, I think a lot of the documents that were prepared for this, specific to erosion control and making sure the site was stabilized, I think they were very, very clear. I think there's been some issues between the general contractor and the site contractor and making sure those items are addressed. And obviously there have been those ongoing concerns. So,
Right. And we're not seeing a resolution for those concerns. That leans me towards a stop work until those contractors can figure out how they need to communicate better so that we can get resolutions and communication sooner so we don't have ongoing violations.
all right. I know the seating dates are the latest issue that's come up. What other concerns are there that are ongoing that have not been addressed, so I can make sure that I can have a actually somewhat productive discussion with them?
Yeah, I could jump in if you like.
Yep.
Please.
Yeah, Art Allen from Ecotech. Hi, Todd. Yeah, nothing against you, Todd, and your design. I mean, you had a very good design, very detailed notes. I mean, you've been one of the more responsive people, and you're not day to day in charge of the construction out there. I fully realize and appreciate that, but again, it was a good design. It's the problem is really, in the implementation. And at this point, they spread a whole bunch of topsoil out there, as you're aware, right before this rainy period. And, they didn't have any real plan to stabilize it other than, I was just told we're in the process of contracting landscapers and, as of when they spread the topsoil, they didn't even have a contractor to do the stabilization. So
there's no mulch or anything, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's no mulch or anything on top of that topsoil? It's just bare, denuded topsoil?
Yeah, they had, a lot, like the whole north slope area was a combination of stone and I believe it was grinding material, stump grindings that they had used, which was pretty resistant. but then they covered that all with topsoil. They put your cross socks back on there, but it wasn't enough to hold the slopes. I mean, they even removed, on the east side where they had a blowout, they removed their upper silt fence, which was helping quite a bit. When they put the topsoil down, they removed the upper silt fence, cross-checked, and didn't even put it back before the rain started. So, you know, yeah, it's just, you know, this on top of all the other issues. I mean, it's the second time they've had, you know, sediment discharge on that north slope that's reached all the way almost 100 feet through the woods to Gilboa Pond. You know, it's just crazy that they've had this many issues, and you know, and all the numerous issues at the bridge construction site that weren't, you know, they weren't reported, they weren't addressed timely. I mean, things, you know, between Swicka and myself out there, you know, just discovering these issues and bringing them to light. I mean, it just, you know, it's, you know, again, it's the contractors, it's not you. You know, but just a lack of communication, a lack of planning. You know, I mean, I know J.R. Vinagro. I've worked on sites with them before, and I mean, they know how to do this stuff. I don't know if they're just not getting the support from the general contractor. I don't know what the breakdown is out there. I mean, I don't know if you have any better idea, but I know I'm frustrated, the commission's frustrated.
No, I appreciate, you know, your words that it's the contractor, not necessarily us, but we are the people who are there in front of your commission, or the commission representing the project and telling you how it's going to be built. And to hear that it's not, those things aren't being upheld is very, it's a bit distressing to me. So I understand your frustration. I agree with everything you've said. I agree that there has to be something done to get their attention, and a stop work order may be appropriate here. I guess what I would ask is, since this week is supposed to be good weather, up until, I think I saw that it was supposed to rain on Friday, which figures, I have Sox tickets for Friday, so of course it's going to rain. If we can push the issuance of the stop work order off until either Wednesday or Thursday, and I will, immediately after I hang up with this, and after I deal with the other things that I have to deal with this evening, I will send out an email to those folks. I guess I'll send it to the same list that Mr. Zitz just sent the agenda to. I think that probably has everybody pertinent covered. And I will tell them, literally, they have whatever you're willing to grant us, 24, 48, 72 hours, to get every single one of these items on your checklist resolved. And not, I don't want to hear a date that it's going to be done in a week or 2 weeks or whenever they have a contractor in place to do it. I think now it has to absolutely be resolved, and there can't be promises to kick the can down the road at this point. With the understanding that if they are not resolved in that time frame, if you're willing to do this, that the stop work order will be issued until such a time that they are resolved and things can be inspected again.
The mechanism that they have been resolved, both are,
Right.
and then Art could make the determination.
Right.
He's comfortable with that.
That's fine.
Right.
And then if they have to do it, would Art draft the stop work order letter and just have the commission approve it, or the chair go through?
That would be my preference.
Right, since he's the point of contact, right?
It would be my preference, I believe, that he write the letter and that we look at it and approve
Make
it.
sure we're clear on the procedure of authority.
No, thank you, because I also have not been through this process in the past.
Yeah, I'll draft it and run it through Steve, yep,
Yeah.
if necessary.
I also want to hear the rest of the board's thoughts, that does this make sense to give them the 24 or 48 hours, and is there a time frame you prefer? Or do we think that that's granting them too much still?
I am fine with that personally, but
Okay.
I would also want to include that I sincerely doubt that they're going to get all of the site stabilized
Right.
in the next 3 days. So I would want to also include in that we have a schedule as to when the site will be stabilized, especially those areas that have had issues in the past, North Slope, the area above Wetland C, and now I think that the slopes that go into the driveway and then run towards the river are also something to look at as well and have stabilized as soon as possible.
And then, do we want to assess any fines for the violations?
We already did fines.
That was Pine.
Okay.
That's a different project. Okay.
Yeah, that's a separate project.
Okay, I will entertain a motion of this board that we grant the contractor, is it CRG in this case?
No, it would be Clayco.
Clayco, sorry, thank you. That we grant Clayco the 48 hours to resolve all the issues on the site, at which point, if the issues are not resolved, we will have our Alan draft the stop work order, and then this Conservation Commission, through the chair, would sign it and issue a stop work, which would include a schedule to resolve any issues not resolved in the next 48 hours.
That seemed fit by it.
Our Alan,
Right now.
yes. Correct. Aaron Allen would draft the letter, I would sign it to the chair, and we would be looking for a schedule, and we would have Art review that schedule for as well.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mark, seconded by Eric. Roll call vote.
Eric Harris, aye.
Greco, aye.
Mark Mongemi.
KG Dudley, aye. Thank you very much, Todd and Art,
No,
for this
thank
discussion.
you. That's more than fair, and I certainly appreciate your willing to discuss this matter this evening. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming online to talk with us.
Thank you. I'll be in touch by the end of the week.
Excellent.
Have a great
Thank
evening,
you, Art.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. So that jumped us back to 4. Now we're back forward to 7A, which is our discussion with Barbara Van Essendelf on 83 Island Road, possible stairway relocation. Barbara, are you online?
I am.
Can you give your name and address for the record again?
Yes, Barbara Van Estendorf, 83 Island Road.
Thank you. Yeah, can we talk about the location of your stairs?
I'm going to let my architect, Jack Kemper, handle that for us.
Oh, awesome.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Jack Kemper, Kemper Associates Architects. Did you guys get a copy of my marked up plan?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, basically, we have, when laying out furniture on the terrace, it became obvious that right now, the way it was approved, there is a stairway at each end. And really one stairway in the center, we would like to relocate and have one staircase replacing the two, the one at either end. We'd like to have it go a little further, but still be less far than the closest distance to the water. On the plan, I think the way we're looking at it is, can we trade some square footage? So it's really kind of just what, if any, flexibility do we have with this design?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
I was going to say, I'm trying to figure, I'm looking at it and deciding if the stairway change brings you any closer or further from the resource areas.
Yeah, and we can recess it somewhat.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm showing. It's going out a couple feet.
Yeah.
And I see that mark I wrote, that arrow ends at where we are the closest to the lake at 47, which I circled on the other side. So it wouldn't go out that far. And then we'd be getting rid of stairs that were on either end.
Right. No, that's fair. I feel like there's probably no change because you've taken down off the stairs on either side. There's no change in the total area that the
I think that's what we would be working with. We would keep the area the same.
Okay.
And I made those stairs just because I quickly sketched it because I didn't know I was coming to a commission with it. But those are very, very grand stairs, and they would not be as big as that.
Okay.
And we'd like to do some rounding and stuff, but that would be inside. We'd like to make it a little softer design, but that would be inside where we are.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, because so the question is, the original plan shows you being 45 feet from the...
How did you get further away?
Yeah, how'd you get further away when you add stairs?
Where's the 45 feet? I didn't see that one.
It's on the plan that was accepted.
Well, this is that plan, I think.
You have a line of 47.6 that doesn't look like it's going to the wetland line. It looks like it's going to the pond, the water's edge line.
Right.
So it's the wetland line that we need to be cognizant of.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're discussing it and not just doing it. So
Yes. So can you tell us what the distance is to the wetland line and not the water's edge?
yeah, the wetland line is, I have a scaled copy here. The wetland line is about right about 44. That's the line inside 40, where my 47.6 is. So I have a scale copy here, and that's about 44.
Let me do this another way. How far do the stairs project out from the back line of the terrace?
I think they would probably be about, probably about 2 or 3 feet.
Yeah, that would put you at like 42 feet.
Well, I'm recessing it some. I'm thinking the whole thing is, and I'm just scaling this on a drawing, so yeah, it might be 42, 43.
I don't have a problem with it personally, but I think we should have a better plan than what we've drawn up.
If you guys say this is in the realm, then we'll do a real plan.
Well, between the board, but...
The hearing, so I apologize.
No, I think this is a discussion, and yes, I think this is easily within the realm of what they call a minor plan change. This is definitely within the realm. It's just, you're looking for a dimension off the resource area, like you were just discussing with Mark.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, we think this is reasonable. Yes, board. Okay.
Okay, but then what I will do is I will have change the plan, have Jason change the site plan and resubmit it to Jen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye-bye.
All right, number 8, they've requested a continuance.
Request a continuance, there's we got a letter today, I guess there's been some correspondence between the engineer for the Millers and our consultant for the town, Graves, and they're close to doing a final plan. I think Graves has submitted some comment letters, which is, hopefully they'll have those addressed and they'll be ready to discuss their final solution at the May 22nd meeting. So there is movement, there is correspondence between the engineers, and they just didn't have time to get the information in.
Okay.
Quite busy, so they asked for it.
Okay. We have to vote to grant them one?
I don't think so. I mean, if you want, I mean, it's for the record.
I'll entertain a motion to continue discussion on 115 Shore Road to May 22nd,
Yep.
2023. Motion made by Eric. Seconded by Mike. Sorry, roll call vote.
Mike Rocco, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Katie Dudley, aye. Thank you. Moving on to item number 9, public hearing, notice of intent, 428 Northeast Main Street, map 101, lot 66, for a septic repair. I think I get to read something. This one was not open before. There it is. Town of Douglas Conservation Commission. Spelled with a 10. 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. 01516. Legal notice of public hearing. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Town of Douglas Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on May 8th at 7 p.m. for a notice of intent filed by Jason Tavernier, located on 428 Northeast Main, for work to be done pursuant to the Town of Douglas Wetland Bylaw and the Wetland Protection Act, MGL 131, Section 40. The proposed work involves proposed repair of an existing septic system. Construction activities are within the 100-foot buffer zone of Bull Run Brook. Public participation will available by attending the meeting at the Town of Douglas Municipal Center located at 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass., or pursuant to Governor Baker's June 16, 2021 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL 30A-518. The public may participate in this meeting via remote participation. A website for the meeting will be provided on the conservation agenda posted on the town's website at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. Copies of the NOI may be examined electronically by contacting the Conservation Commission at 508-476-4000, extension 205. Posted on the 10th of April. Name and address for the record.
Okay, Barbara Bacon, Civil Site Engineering, and I'm here representing my client, Jason Tavernier, regarding the septic repair right there at the corner of, here's Northeast Main Street, Charles Street, a little triangular piece of property. And just to get your bearings, this is where Bull Brook runs through. There's 2 culverts. So there's really only one place to fix this existing failed system. So right now they have a cesspool or so I'm not exactly sure what they have, but it's old and needs to be replaced. It's in failure. So we're putting in a Presby system. Because a Presby system, we have a little more flexibility with the configuration. And as you can see, here's the 50-foot buffer zone. So per Title V, you have to stay 50 feet away from the wetlands.
Yep.
But I can't do that on this site. Okay, so I've already been to the Board of Health. I had that just before this meeting. And they granted me a variance for that 50-foot setback, and also to request a waiver to groundwater. And like I said, there's really no other place I can go. I had to ask for a waiver to the property line also. So it is allowed if you go through the variance process and notifies all the butters. So I had to notify the butters twice, for this meeting and for the Board of Health meeting. And actually, and then DEP had some comments about a riverfront area.
Just update the form.
But you know, actually, septic repairs are exempt from the riverfront regulations. And then he also, and I did this for you too, they also talked about the floodplain. And what I did here, this, you know, you have to make some assumptions here because the floodplain, there's not a fixed elevation for it in this area.
Not a study.
Not a study. So, you know, we have this culvert right here, and what I did is I overlaid the topo that's in this entire area. And I've never seen this water overtop Northeast Main Street. Have you?
I have not.
I'm usually not out in the flood.
No, well, a lot of times I am, actually, to look at drainage, but, so I was very generous here. I said, well, okay, if it did overtop the roadway, it'd be at this elevation right here, which is 344. So this here is all 344, okay? So, you know, that's just based on my assumption. Worst case scenario, if that floodwater ever overtopped that road, this is what it would look like, okay? And chances are this creates more of a dam, so it probably would drop even further down there. So I really don't think we're in the floodplain, our septic. We're high enough up on the hill. I just don't think the water would ever get up that high. So I thought I kind of addressed that question too for the DEP. And like I say, I do have something from the regs that do say that septic systems are exempt from the riverfront area.
As long as they're approved by Board of Health.
Yeah, it got approved just a little while ago.
So you looked at, you didn't feel like you had any other alternatives here. This is, you're essentially putting it where the failed system was?
Well, the failed system's right about here. Correct. There really is no other feasible place to put this system.
You can't put it exactly where the failed system was?
I'm getting too close to the foundation.
Okay.
Here's the lot here.
Yep.
There it is, yeah. It's just.
This is the view from Charles Street, correct? This is that culvert?
It's that call, yeah. It's just the video. It's the Zoom that's making it zoom, not me.
I understand. We know you don't walk like that.
Been watching your jittery videos for a long time.
Videos for years.
It really is me.
That's where it's going?
Yeah, you can see where they did the perks there. Correct.
And is it going to be raised? The ground going to be raised?
It is going to be raised. Actually, we had groundwater at 4 feet, so the top of the system is going to be about 3 feet higher than what's there now. And that's with a variance.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be even higher than that. Then it just starts to become... You know, obviously, anything here is a big improvement over, you know, what's there now, because what's there now is in the groundwater.
Fair, understood, and you looked at the alternatives. Before I go to the public, can I get an idea, a feel from the board? Any thoughts so far? Okay. Name and address for the record in the audience.
Jeremy Flansburgh, 63 Monroe Street. Just the brook that you're mentioning is, we've been down this road before with Pine, Stan, and Stone, who built Joseph Road. It's a cold water fishery.
Yes.
So just, there was no mention of that.
Okay.
And being so close, I mean, you're literally looking less than an eighth of a mile away from the sewer department, why don't they just tie into the sewer? I didn't understand why Joseph Road wasn't even tied into the sewer to begin with, but if you're that close,
Well,
why don't you just tie in?
Well, there is a sewer line down Charles Street, but it's quite a ways down.
Okay.
You know where those duplexes are right there?
Yep.
So there's a private ejector pumps, but that's a couple hundred feet up the road.
And how many different properties do you estimate that is? You'd have to go down, you'd have to dig up Charles Street, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You have to put in a whole new sewer line.
Trench it. I'm not saying dig it up. It would be a trench.
Down Charles Street.
Yeah.
You'd have to take that up with the town.
I'm throwing it out there, man.
No, absolutely. It's an analysis. That's why we're working through it.
That's why we put in town septic, is to try to resolve not having to have septic on sites.
Especially next to a cold water fishery where there's native brook trout.
Yep.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. And that's why I'm saying what we're proposing here now is certainly a lot better than what's there now, which is a cesspool that's right in the groundwater, which
It's failed.
has a.
And I have seen it clog up and go across Northeast Main Street.
You have seen the water.
Very rarely, but I have seen it.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, well, I did account for that in my floodplain analysis.
Okay. Forward.
I think Mr. Flansburgh brings up a good point. I mean, it makes me think about it a little bit.
Right.
You know? That would be my preference, would be to take it to the septic system, to the off-site. But it is also a failed system that we need to get corrected right away. So it looks like you're ready to go with it.
You've been ready to go. This is the second design. The first design, the engineer did a real nice job, but he just didn't quite finish it. So he had to hire us, and so, yeah, he's ready to go, and it did get approved by the Board of Health.
Yes, Mr. Flansburgh.
Jeremy Flansburgh once again. Remember though, I work for a municipality. You can't ignore a problem until it becomes an emergency. Okay? If you get a problem, you just can't ignore it for multiple years until it becomes an emergency. And then you can't claim it's an emergency.
That's fair.
I wish there was a way to find out if the septic could be extended to this area and how that process would take place.
That's the water sewer commission. And if they don't allow it, then they don't allow it.
Exactly.
Mr. Flansburgh?
Yes, they've been doing probes up on Monroe Street, all the way down the dirt portion of Monroe Street for the anticipation of sewer lines being put in. Could this somehow be incorporated into that particular master plan? If they're going to be putting sewer lines up on Monroe Street, why aren't they putting sewer lines on Charles Street?
I don't have the answers to that question. I don't know. That's a good point.
Yeah, and bring up another point too, where then even if they're thinking about putting sewer lines, that's years away.
Understood. Absolutely.
You could just ask water and sewer. When, how, if, it's all.
Do we want to do those activities that board Is that something we'd be interested in pursuing in parallel? Would be interested in conditionally approving this plan and then also asking Douglas Water Sewer what it would take to get water sewer extended to properties like this?
I mean, I would personally like to ask Water and Sewer, you know,
Okay.
what the potential is to extend. For this project here, how that in fact affects this project here, I don't know if it means that we have to wait a couple weeks and have, you know, address this at our next meeting.
So that's what I'm trying to get away from. That's why I was wondering if we could condition this on what answer we get back from water sewer. Because I would hate to have them wait another 2 weeks if we ask water and sewer tomorrow and they gave us a hard no.
Well, another issue with going up Charles Street is that starts to go up a hill. So you put in public sewer, then you're gonna have to put in a pump station down here.
Correct. We also know how fast projects like that tend to work. Because we do have a failed system now. And it would take probably a long time for them to put sewer on Charles Street.
I'd be fine with that, a conditional.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing for 4298 Northeast Main Street.
Second.
Moved by Eric, seconded by Mark. Roll call vote.
Mike Kurzweil.
Mark Mangum, aye.
Katie Dudley, aye. And then I would entertain a motion to approve the notice of intent for 428 Northeast Main Street, map 141, lot 66, DP 1431077, with the condition that after asking town water and sewer tomorrow, is that reasonable, Steve? Tomorrow's a business day.
I don't know if you want to ask the department or ask the commission.
Do you want me to
The
reach
department's
out?
there tomorrow, the commission meets once a month. I think. You can ask the department.
The department.
The department.
Do you want me to reach out?
Can you?
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
Margaret will reach out tomorrow, and if they give you a hard no, you can please report that back to the commission via our agent, Steve. And then we can approve this plan, and if they say yes, then we still need to look at what the time frame would be, right? Because I mean, if they say yes, but it will be 5 to 10 years from now, then we'll revisit this.
Plus the cost. Cost is a factor also.
This is true. This is true with the town. I just wanted to get the vote approved because barring that, otherwise I assume that there's no other issues with this plan. Okay. The motion's been entertained.
So moved.
Motion made by Mark,
Second.
seconded by Eric. Roll call vote.
Mike Kurzweil.
Mark Mangum, aye.
Katie Dudley, aye. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 10, which is the public hearing for Legacy Circle, map 166, lot 15, Peter Michael Business Park, McIntyre Loam. I'm going to read the legal notice, and then I'll have you guys do introductions. Just have to find... There we go. Town of Douglas Conservation Commission, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. 01516. Legal notice for public hearing pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. The Town of Douglas Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on May 8th, 2023 at 7 p.m. for a notice of intent filed by McIntyre Loam, located on map 166, lot 15, for work to be done pursuant to the Town of Douglas Wetland Bylaw in the Wetland Protection Act, MGL 131, Section 40. The proposed work involves construction of a gravel access road, intermittent stream crossing, and stormwater management facilities. Public participation will be available by attending the meeting at the Town of Douglas Municipal Center at 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass., or pursuant to Governor Baker's June 16 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Laws 30A18. The public may participate in this meeting via remote participation. A website for the meeting will be provided on the conservation agenda posted on the town's website at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. Copies of the notice intent may be examined electronically by contacting the Conservation Commission at 508-476-4000, extension 205. This was posted on the 28th of April, Friday.
Madam Chair?
And we're going to have an introduction for this project first.
Okay, I don't believe it's been properly advertised or notified to abutters. That's all I wanted to say before you open the meeting.
Okay. Opened it. I have the notices.
So,
Yeah.
notice and then the butters list just came in today.
So that was for Uxbridge, if I could.
Yeah.
So initially what happened was, it was actually my error. Douglas abutters were notified, including Mr. Flansburgh, and
No, I was
Uxbridge.
not.
I have the proof right here, and you have it as well. And the second time that we...
Excuse me, sir.
The second...
Property.
Please wait. Mr. Flansburgh.
Thank you.
The second time, we decided to re-advertise because of my error, and everybody was re-notified, including abutters in Uxbridge and Douglas. So Mr. Flansburgh received a notification twice.
Okay.
And just so there's no other confusion, the list is generated by the assessors departments, and they determine who is within the correct radius to the project. And Mr. Flansburgh does appear on that list, again, twice, so.
Does or does not appear?
Does appear.
Does appear on
I
the...
should appear 3 times.
He may own multiple properties, but the only one that is within 300 feet of the project site is the one that he was notified for.
Which one, sir?
Would you like me to continue to address this?
I would like to know what address they're referencing, yeah. Because I also have this list. I was...
Parcel number 168-4, and this list says Monroe Street, but it's, 53 Monroe Street.
That's my mother's. That's not me, or my wife, or my daughter.
This is the property that's within the radius to the site.
The other properties are not within the 100-foot of butters.
They do not appear on this list.
I live at 63. I'm closer than 53 to the property. And I also own 73 Davis, and I never got, or my wife or my child received the notification for 73 Davis, 63 Monroe, and yes, my mother did receive one because that is in a trust, and she is right behind me. And yes, my mother got it, and if she didn't tell me this meeting was tonight, I wouldn't have known about it.
Yep. So...
This is an illegal meeting.
This is not. This is the 7 PM Conservation Commission meeting that has been advertised for at least 2 weeks, and it is on the calendar for the entire year. This is the Conservation Commission meeting.
Madam Chairman, I strongly disagree. I work for a municipality, and I understand how legal advertisements go. And if an abutter is not notified, because I'm notified because it's based on a trust of 53 Monroe Street, my wife and my child live at 63 Monroe Street.
So you're telling me...
My child owns 73 Davis Street, and I never got anything in my mailbox.
You're telling me... No, you didn't get anything in your mailbox because you're not on the abutters list. You're telling me that the abutters list is incorrect.
I don't know. How could 100 Davis Street and I'm at 73 Davis Street not be in a butter?
Because it's not within the 100-foot abutters list.
Well, then how could 53 Davis be in a butter and I'm 63 Davis, which is even...
53 and 63 Monroe, Jeremy.
I mean, 63 Monroe and my mom got it for 53 Monroe, and she's farther away. I'm closer, and I didn't get it.
Because she's on the 100-foot abutters list.
Say that again, ma'am?
She's on the abutters list
Why ain't I? I'm in
because you're
between.
not within 100 feet.
I know I am.
I don't know what numbers he's throwing, I'm just not familiar
You have
enough.
a
but
list.
We got a certified list,
you
and
sent
everybody on it
letters
got
to the
notified.
people on the list.
Correct. So I don't, certainly don't have the intimate knowledge that Mr. Flansburgh has of the area,
Right.
but this is what we need to do legally.
That's why I'm saying that you followed a list that you have of your abutters, that you're notified. You did not notify these properties that Mr. Flansburgh is discussing because they were not on the list they were not on the list that you were given to give people notification to. And so that's why I am asking Mr. Flansburgh, Jeremy, if you think that our list is wrong.
It is.
Okay, then that is something that is outside of this conservation, and that is something that you will have to take out with the town. Steve, do you know who Mr. Flansburgh needs to address to talk about how this list is generated and why the properties he's concerned with are not on the list?
Well, I believe within a certain period, it might be 30 days or 60 days, you have to have it's a certified abutters list from the assessors.
It comes from the assessor's
Comes
office.
from the assessor's office, it's certified. I can give them a copy of the list and.
Yeah. So then I think, and I believe your issue will be with the assessor's office.
Quite frankly, I believe I talked with.
So the yellow is landlocked, so that's what they're looking at for their.
I did talk because I believe this is an extension from the last meeting that was improperly advertised. And when I talked to, I believe it was a Kim? Who?
Jen.
Jen, yes, Jen. I talked with Jen, and I told Jen that this was, she said it was not advertised correctly. And I says, I don't think the abutters were properly notified. She asked me why. I said, I live at 63 Monroe. She said, you're right, you weren't notified. And I will get this corrected when we come to meet tonight. And I said to Jen, I says, I also own property at 73 Davis Street.
Right.
And she said, then you should have definitely have gotten something for 73 Davis
Right.
Street.
But Jen also doesn't make the abutters list. So,
However, I don't care who makes the abutters list. This board can't have a meeting unless all abutters are notified.
but we did,
Yeah, we can't go against what they were provided as an abutters list.
right.
We
But they
can't-
should do their
we
due
can't be
diligence.
here at this
They
meeting
did.
and decide that you're right and the
So the error there
developer
was.
is wrong.
The error in the advertisement was not the abutters list, it was the one you,
That's a totally different issue.
Right.
Uxbridge abutters weren't notified, but
and now they have.
Flansburgh family, regardless of who it is and what address, was on that list. So
Right.
they've been notified twice, that's the
Yep.
property.
Understood. Okay. However, you had an issue with Uxbridge, so you had to
Yeah,
re-notify
we corrected
them.
that. Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to have the actual discussion associated with, sorry, I've gotten, associated with Legacy Circle Map 166 Lot 15, because as my understanding is, at this point, we're going to discuss this, right?
I am happy to look into what Mr. Flansburgh is saying and at least get to the bottom of it, so if there was an error made by the assessor's office, we can at least identify it, but from a legal standpoint, we've satisfied everything that we need to do.
Right, no, this is, we're open.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and start, and start your, and tell us about your project. Once,
Because the yellow is the parcel and the red is everything.
I understand, but I would think that those two pieces, that's just me.
Okay.
thank you.
He understands that the red parcels are the ones that appear on the list only. Okay.
I mean,
I don't think we have a problem.
no.
I don't think there are any problems
The
whatsoever.
red was a larger portion, were more.
Yes, it was more land.
When they did the ANRAD.
When we did the ANRAD, I recall doing the
Yeah,
ANRAD.
that included several more parcels.
So now,
Extended the butters list.
I remember that discussion. But we opened and closed the ANRAD. This is now a different notice.
This is an interior parcel that's, right.
Absolutely. So please,
Okay, my name is Michael Dryden, for the record, Senior Project Manager with Allen Engineering, here on behalf of McIntyre Loan. Tom McIntyre is here with us this evening. I think we're all familiar with Peter Michael Business Park, and recently Lot 6 in this location was approved for earthwork activity, here. And we've mentioned the ANRAD already. All the resource areas on this site were approved just about a year ago under the ANRAD process. There are numerous resource areas on the site. The subject property is outlined here in bold black. It's 114 acres, and access will be gained essentially through the northeast corner of Lot 6. So I'm going to flip the page and zoom in. Existing. So zooming in to the southern portion, what you see here is the Lot 6 that's currently under construction. And as I mentioned, access will be through Lot 6. It's a 24-foot wide gravel access. It's about 700 feet in length. And one of the things we looked at initially, there's an existing gravel crossing that crosses in this location. It's a narrow crossing. Unfortunately, as if you can see it from your vantage point, the green represents the wetland.
Yep.
So there's a pretty significant wetland there. So what we did was we analyzed the bank in blue and found this location right here where there's no wetland bordering. It's about a 9-foot, between 9 and 10-foot wide bank, a very appropriate area to cross. So we propose to not utilize that cart path, come through here again about 700 feet from here to here, 24 feet wide. The crossing is minimal. There's very little impact. There's about 88 linear feet of bank and about 470 square feet land underwater. So no replication required, but restoration for land underwater and bank certainly is required. There are 2 stormwater basins proposed. One will take the drainage area from the northern portion of the crossing, and the lower basin will take the southern portion. We've designed grass swales with check dams to receive runoff from the gravel drive before it enters the basin. And then what I'd like to just point out is a blow up further. This is the crossing. There are 2 head walls in the shaded gray, 32 feet clear. The gravel access itself, as I mentioned, is 24 feet. The red represents the impact of the land underwater. And the retaining walls themselves are about 6 feet at their highest point. And then as you move away from the crossing, they essentially diminish to nothing. So essentially that is the proposal. I'll talk quickly about the 2 criteria for the Massachusetts Streamwater Crossing Standards. One would be the bankful width. I came up with a 9.6 average width at this crossing, which would translate to 11.5 feet for the culvert width itself. So this is 12 feet, so it does exceed that. The openness ratio must be a minimum of 0.82. We're actually 2.25 here, and so we significantly exceed that. The reason for that is the crossing is sort of down in a valley, and we wouldn't want the road to sort of dip down that sharply, so we're able to smooth that vertical curve out and then have just a taller culvert. So we easily far exceed the openness ratio. We did receive DEP comments, one of which, while we're talking about the bankful width, they questioned the 9.6 feet. I checked it again. I'm not sure why they're questioning it, but I did actually offer to go out in the field and pull the tape between the flags. But regardless, even if it needed to be adjusted by a half a foot, I mean, we far exceed the openness ratio and the bankful width. So I don't anticipate any issues there. The second comment was if there were any plans to pave this access way, DEP would want TSS calculations to make sure that we're, proper pretreatment. That's not the case. We're not proposing pavement at this time. These access roads are very consistent with all the other roads that Mr. McIntyre is currently has permitted and is working under.
Okay. So just to review, the scope of what you're presenting tonight is an access way to a potentially later project. At this point, you're accessing the space to do some clearing and probably remove material outside of our jurisdiction, and you're just talking about the crossing here?
That is correct.
Okay.
So what you see in orange, obviously, is the 100-foot buffer zone.
Yep.
What we've done is we've brought that access to a significant distance outside of the buffer zone and mitigated the stormwater. Future plans for the site, the plan currently is to remain outside of all resource areas and the buffer zones. Of course, if that should change, we're subject to another filing.
Right. No, that's why I was trying to delineate where this starts, regardless of what ends up happening at the other end of this route. At this point, we're just talking about an unpaved access road for equipment. So what type of equipment would you plan to use this access route for?
Standard earth moving, I don't know if you want to mention.
Yeah.
Trucks and heavy equipment is basically it.
Okay.
Yeah, standard 10-wheel, 18-wheel trucks.
Okay.
Essentially the same equipment that's accessing Lot 6.
Right. And then is the crossing that you have, this is an intermittent stream?
It is.
And you've picked a place where there's no bordering vegetative wetlands.
Correct.
There's a steep bank. Is it named?
Steep, but it is. No, it's an unnamed stream. So
okay.
You may recall this from the ANRAD. There's an unnamed in blue here, and then there's another unnamed portion where they converge. You see the yellow riverfront. From that point, it becomes perennial.
And then it becomes Dunleavy Brook.
Correct.
Okay, interesting.
So you can see that we're well away from the 200-foot riverfront area in yellow.
Okay.
The crossing is, we do have work in close proximity, but as I mentioned, any future work will be outside of all the resource areas and their buffer zones.
And that intermittent stream is that intermittent unnamed stream, it's headed at that space of wetlands to the left.
It's actually flowing this way.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then it confluents and it creates Dunleavy. Okay.
Then it converges, and that's where it becomes Perennial Street.
Okay. So the board, any thoughts?
Yeah, I have a few thoughts. Is there a calculation as to the impacts to the buffer zone? How much of each buffer zone area is being impacted?
I'm not sure that we tabulated that. Oh, we did under the local bylaw for fees, I believe. Let me just check that.
Secondly,
Because normally we wouldn't.
floodplain on here, is there a floodplain?
Floodplain is actually, do you have the notice of intent package in front of you? Oh, here it is. I'm looking at the wrong file. So here's the notice of intent. Within here, you will see the floodplain map. I'll just let you look at that. So what I do is I circle the crossing, and that's right from the FEMA map, so you can see that there's no work in close proximity to the floodplain. I'm happy to add that to the plan. It's probably going to be off to the, extreme left of the sheet there. And then
What's the width of the clearing that you're doing at the crossing?
So
And why is it expanding out so much, so quickly?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, I mean, you've narrowed it down for the crossing itself, but then it just fans out on both sides.
If you look,
pretty
there's stormwater basins that are required to mitigate the removal of the vegetation and the gravel. So that's why it flares out to accommodate the two basins.
Did you look at maybe putting the basin outside of the 100-foot wetland buffer?
It's not possible just from an elevation standpoint. We would never be able to outlet those basins. So I did my best to push the work as far away as possible. The basins are outside of the 50-foot no-touch, but it's impossible to get them entirely outside of the buffer zone.
And again, what was the width of the clearing at the crossing?
So it's the clear span between the two retaining walls is 32 feet. So I'm going to guess it's probably about 36 feet, 38 feet in that neighborhood. But the actual impact that we calculate, the numbers I gave you are based on that 32-foot clear dimension for the retaining walls.
Why have you established a 32-foot wide crossing?
Well, we need it to be 24, which is a standard width for vehicles to cross, and then we wanted to provide a shoulder, just for safety. And again, there's no border revegetated wetland impact at all. So this work is essentially temporary. There'll be temporary impact to the bank and land underwater, but then it'll be restored.
What do you mean it'll be restored? You're gonna take the bridge back out?
No, the bank itself, if there's any impact to the bank as part of construction when we're done with our open bottom culvert, any impact to that bank would be restored.
How? Please.
Just a simple soil disturbance or anything of that nature. Just by crossing it with equipment. It's minimal impact, but when I say restored, if there's any...
You're not disturbing the substrate.
Yeah, if there's any soil stabilization that's needed immediately on the bank, it needs restored.
Okay.
This is looks to me like it's a major corridor from one wetland area to another wetland area. And the process of putting in the bridge, the box culvert, is going to impact that at only a 12-foot wide opening when you said it's a 9 or 10 foot wide.
9.6.
So is there anything that can be done to widen that opening so that it provides more of a corridor on either side of the bank? You're going to be reestablishing a bay when you have it, when the sides are only 12 feet apart. And
So
there's not going to be any like upland vegetation next to it.
the Massachusetts stream crossing standards dictate how we design these crossings. And as I mentioned, the bank width is 1.2, the bank, so we've exceeded that already. And then we far exceeded the openness ratio. So the open area of the culvert as well as the width of the culvert exceed the Mass stream crossing standards.
I'm trying to do better than the standards.
I understand that.
Well, Mark's point, that I think, did you read the entire quote?
This is
on the standards, why they developing?
Sure, I'm very familiar with it.
Yeah, because the segmentation of wetland corridors, like Mark was talking about, so the road
for wildlife passage.
Wildlife passage, and so that's why you want the bank width in order to give the wildlife the ability to, move, segmentate from one wetland of the corridor, which is you're gonna, they can't go up and over now with that steep slope, so that the only way from getting to the one area to the other is through that culvert behind the shoulder. So the wider, if it's a real narrow, if it's only a foot on either side, sometimes you have difficult times going through. So.
Right.
I certainly didn't write the standards, we just follow them, so.
Now, do you trigger wildlife habitat study?
No. Whenever you comply with the stream crossing standards, it's an automatic checkbox for wildlife habitat.
You're not feeling wetlands.
Well, if you meet the standards, is the way it reads. If you meet the stream crossing standards, which we've exceeded, you're not subject to a wildlife habitat evaluation.
I'd like to schedule the site walk.
Yep.
So this is this commission sent this out for peer review, just
in parallel
with Graves Engineering.
Excellent.
And so I got an email today saying that he wasn't able to get comments in time for tonight's meeting, but hopefully done by the end of the week.
Okay. Do you think we should wait until after we receive those comments to schedule our site walk?
No.
Okay.
Well, it's up to you. I mean, if you want it or not.
I guess I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do something with those comments. Do you know when we expect those comments?
He said within a few days, hopefully.
Okay, so we could theoretically have those comments, say, in our inbox before we would embark on a site walk if we schedule it for this weekend.
Yeah, I can email him and say, you'd like them before this certain date and do the site walk.
Right. Okay. Cool. Mark, what works for you for a sidewalk?
Well, the Saturdays in the morning or midday work
Okay.
for me, usually.
Could your group, would you be willing for us to go on a site walk, or would you want to be there to have us, would you want to be there for our site walk?
I'm happy to attend. I can bring you right to the spot quickly. You won't be wandering around looking at the numbers on flags.
Okay, so is the weekend amenable to you guys?
Sure,
Okay.
that's fine.
Excellent. A Saturday morning, we're busy. Are you free in the afternoon or?
Afternoon, 1:30, 4 o'clock.
Okay. What are you?
That's good for you, then I'll make it, yeah.
Okay. So we're looking at 12:30 on Saturday. Yeah, we'll look at 12:30 on Saturday.
Okay.
Okay.
Saturday the 13th?
Yes.
That sounds right. So we'll meet at the cul-de-sac, I assume? At the end?
Sure.
Mr. Flansburgh?
Yes, Jeremy Flansburgh, excuse me, 63 Monroe Street. Just for everybody's information, it is a perennial stream. The headwaters come from the fire pond right behind my father's barn on Monroe Street. That's where it all, and then it actually starts up even further behind Community Cannabis, and it all flows down that way. But it's a Dunleavy Brook. It is on the USGS maps as a labeled river. And I don't know if it's a cold water fishery or not sure, but I know that it's definitely perennial, it never dries up. And I don't know why we're putting a bridge or a crossing over a stream off a legacy place where this Mr. McIntyre has no frontage or the appropriate frontage on Legacy Place to be doing any of this activity.
That's out of
But I know
the
it's
Conservation
not,
Commission.
but he said he's not building anything. That's fine, he ain't building anything.
But
So he doesn't
we
need
just have
frontage.
filing at hand.
But don't sit here and tell me that it's not a perennial stream. I've
So-
lived there since 1973, and it is a perennial
You're
stream.
stating that it starts at a fire pond further upstream from the site in which we're talking about that exists behind your father's barn?
Yeah. And
What
what's gonna
property
happen
is
with
that?
Is
53, well, it's 53, the house is on 53, but the barn is located across the street from the house.
On the other side of Monroe?
Yeah, on the other
And
side.
somewhere in that vicinity, there is a fire, one of those fire circle pits?
No, it's literally, it's a pond that's right behind the barn.
Okay.
You've seen every barn in New England, there's a pond next to it. That's to prevent, because there's no fire hydrants up at our end of the street. So there's a pond there to put the fire out if the barn goes out. And I'm worried now that this is gonna drain my pond.
It's gonna, okay.
I'm upstream of all this stuff.
Correct.
And it's a perennial stream, and it goes through, as he mentioned, it connects. That's the Jefferson Swamp. If you talk to any old timer in town, that's one of the biggest swamps in town. And that's upstream of where he's putting in his crossing.
Nope, understood.
If I can just make a couple of comments.
I will need name and address for the record.
Beth Flansburgh, 53 Monroe Street.
Thank you.
All right, I'm kind of familiar. I need you some help in this. I don't understand all these charts and this parcel, that parcel, and everything else. I have driven down Legacy Road or Legacy Place, whatever that is. I've gone down to where the tar ends, and then it goes to gravel or crushed stone, down around and kind of swings to the left, and there's some piles of loom and everything down around there. Where are you going to go in relation to that, if you could follow my description? Are you going to the left of it, to the right of it, or?
Left.
Would you mind bringing up that original, the front page? Or the next page?
So I go to the very end of the existing access to the property.
So this is lot 6. So let me just trace this for you, if I could. You drive up Legacy, it's down here, and you come into the site and you go left, and you go northward. This is the property, this is lot 6, where that activity is happening now. So essentially in the northeast corner of lot 6 is where this access will continue.
So it's down, going down to like the right, it veers off
No,
up to the
left.
right?
Well, it actually left.
To the right? To the left.
I'm not sure what plan is going to show that.
Second page.
I don't have the earthwork plans, but that was
Very deceiving mount.
Is it going to be on the side where Granitech is?
Oh, yeah. no.
Down and back that side, or up the other side by the gas line?
Behind the back.
There's another street.
Where you drove to was here.
You don't see it.
That's the end of the cul-de-sac.
Wait a minute, now what's the cul-de-sac? What do you mean, oh, the road going down, Legacy, yep.
Over the intermittent.
And then left. This is where it kind of turns left around it, and it's going to go up, and we're talking right now.
Okay.
That's where the
Excuse me. My other question is there going to be any blasting involved in order to do this kind of work? Because previously there has been blasting, no one was notified or anything else. You're sitting watching your TV in the middle of an afternoon, and all of a sudden your whole house shakes, and that happened 3 times at different days. No notification. I don't know if they have to notify you, but I would think that some kind of courtesy to the people in the area to build goodwill, if nothing else, would be something to look at.
Would you
As a good
expect-
neighbor, I
Yeah,
think that would be
yeah.
nice.
certainly not for
And
this
my-
project.
Okay.
My
This is a
third
fill project.
point, I don't know if this is related to this committee, but at one time they said they were going to put signage out. I imagine trucks entering and exiting. Nothing like that has ever been set up in that area. You go by and you think it's right, because it's beautiful. You've done a great job on the front. The back looks like heck. It's terribly, the land down there has been destroyed. You talk about animal habitat. When you go down there and do your site work, don't look so much at look at the area they're discussing, but look on the way in and see what you see. It is a mess. It's terrible. That's all so those are my 2 points. If there's blasting, I think it would be nice to kind of let us know and do something about that. And what about some signage?
Okay, thank you. All right, so we have a site walk scheduled, we've heard from the public. Do we have any other notes for the commission? I'll entertain a motion to continue this hearing to the next meeting on May 22nd.
So moved.
Motion made by Mark,
Second.
seconded by Mike. Roll call vote.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
KG Dudley, aye. Thank you so much for your presentation, and thank you, Flansburgh, for your comments.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
All right, the next item on our agenda is 11. It's notice of intent for 41 Hemlock Street, Lot 1, map 287, Lot 11, for a single family, Julius Caesar. Also votes.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Welcome. Yep, thank you. We might want to do 11A first.
We have to do 11A first. All right, no, thank you for that reminder. So 11A is the request for certificate of compliance at 41 Hemlock Street, lot number 1, map 287, lot 11. And my understanding is that there was no work on that site.
Thank you very much.
Right. Board, I will entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 41 Hemlock Street associated with the notice of intent DEP 1430963.
So what's up? I'm lost.
Back in 2018, we filed an NOI for a previous house on this lot. They never built it, and then they sold this lot to somebody else. But that orders still out there, it's been recorded. So we'd like to close that one out so that we can then open up a new one.
Okay. Thank you. I make the motion that we issue a certificate of compliance for NOI DEP number 1430963.
Motion made by Mark,
Second.
seconded by Eric. Roll call vote.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangiam, aye.
KG Dudley, aye. Thank you. And then on to 11.
Okay, for the record, Margaret Bacon, Civil Site Engineering, and I'm here representing my client, Julio Mesquita, for a proposed single-family house with a detached garage at 41 Hemlock Street. And basically, it's similar to the plan that was approved before, except this one, he's building a house that kind of fits the lot a little better. The previous design was a longer house, and they wanted everything on the first floor, so there was a lot of fill around the whole thing. With this one here, we got to drive under and a walk out in the back, so that eliminates all the fill that the first design had. So this house fits this lot much better. So, and then I did go back out there today.
Oh, you did?
I got out there today to refresh those wetland flags. The wetlands were first delineated way back when, and then when we filed the first notice of intent, I revised some of those wetland flags, okay? And they're kind of way off the site. Well, not way off, but they're
Within 100 feet.
within 100 feet. So I did revise the flags, and I went out there again today to refresh them. And most of them were kind of, remnants were still there.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so, yes, so it was easy enough for me to hang new flags. And I don't really think anything's changed with that wetland. And so basically, the wetlands are off here. Here's the 50-foot buffer zone. Everything's outside the 50-foot. Here's the 100-foot buffer zone. Here's Hemlock Street, and here's this common drive that accommodates 5 lots, and one's getting built right now up here, and there's 2 others at the end. And do we have a DEP number?
Yes, thank you.
With one comment on the, please use decimal degrees on the NOI form. What's that mean?
Does that look like the northeast by
I was
northeast?
wondering, is that what they want? Just,
I can never figure out how to put those in.
yeah, we do minutes and seconds. I
Minutes
mean,
and seconds,
but so that, I was thinking, is that what they're talking about? I mean,
Are they upgrading you to the metric system?
I don't know. That's, you
They
know,
want you to use radians?
How do you put in the, what do you call that? The
Yeah, I know, but-
compass coordinates on
Oh.
NOI forms.
yeah, when you go on Mass Mapper though, that's what they give you, minutes, seconds, and,
And not, but not
Degrees.
degree.
Degrees, minutes, and seconds, yeah, you put that in all forms.
Okay.
What do you want Hemlock for?
Yeah, we know that's easier to find. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So it's on a common asphalt driveway. It shares that with some other.
yeah, there's, actually, it's 5 lots. And there's 2 lots at the end. This one right here is currently under construction, and here's a vacant lot. And this was started, geez, about 10 years ago.
Yeah. So on the locust map, the little curved road that we're looking at is that common drive?
This is Hemlock Street.
Oh, that's Hemlock.
Yeah, and then here's the common drive right up here.
Okay.
And so all these lots, because it's a common drive, have frontage. So you got these funky shaped lots.
Shaped lots.
This is kind of what I was trying to figure out, but I mean, that's neither here nor there now, but
One shape factor in Douglas, that's what you end up with.
gerrymandering our house lots.
Yeah. Get a shape factory, change all that.
That was big 20 years ago. But you can see it on the parcel map.
Yeah, well, you know, Mike did these. Mike was pretty good at this.
So the house is completely outside of the 100-foot buffer?
Yes, it is.
The driveway and the garage are not, they're, how close are they?
Well, here's the...
That garage.
Here's the 50 foot. So the garage is probably about 60 feet away. Here's the 100.
Yeah, I'd give that 10, yeah.
The front yard, because of the high groundwater, is a mound. So he did want a backyard, you know. And like I said, this is it's the right house for this lot, you know. You fill in the front, but the back's just a walkout without bringing in a lot of fill. And that's really kind of the house that belongs there.
Is this area is currently forested?
Yeah.
Forested, it's a forested mountain laurel.
Well, they had a lot of thick in there with mine.
And so the limited clearing, where is that?
Well, I got the pink erosion control. And I got the stockpile area. And I got the well sump. So
I was just wondering if you could shrink the limit of clearing, particularly along the right where you've drawn kind of a straight line from that property to the corner of the garage.
I knew you were going to pick bag. Sitting in there. And I said, oh yeah, they're going to pick this up. So yeah, I can take this and I'm going to bring it over.
Thank you.
I have, you know, one of my young engineers, and I should have picked it up. And I'm sure I picked it up when I was sitting there, so. But I can be flexible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're young engineers.
Well,
You never make them come to the meetings.
And that's true. I should send them to meetings more.
Should send them to meetings. Snow in my industry, that's what we do to young engineers. We put them in front of the Navy. I guess it's existing gravel drive. Once you're done with the stockpile area, it's probably just going to stay there the way it is.
This over here?
Yeah.
I don't know. They might turn that into lawn.
Okay.
What?
There's no jumping.
Jumpy video for us?
No, I don't know, because it's all woods.
It's a bunch of mountain laurel. No, that's there. And then the other area I'm going to look at is behind the garage. I can't imagine that you have a lot of lawn behind the garage. Yeah, that one's perfect.
It's a vegetable garden.
Well, you know, they do want a garden, so, and
Right, they
do
want
have
to
a nice
put the
flat
garden.
backyard here, so.
No, you want to put your garden in the backyard. You don't want your kids playing behind the garage. You can't see them. You don't want the vegetables behind the garage. There's not enough sunlight.
So this gives them a nice backyard and a room for a garden.
Yeah.
And I'm outside the 50.
There you go. Any other comments from the board? I was assuming that the garage is located where it is to match the contouring of the site, but Eric was wondering if the garage could shift towards the house.
Well, I was trying to give them enough turning.
Enough room to turn around.
There.
Why is there a driveway going to the house and going to a garage?
There's also a garage under the house.
They got a drive. There's going to be a drive under.
Yeah.
Oh, so they have.
You can park your car in the house and in the garage.
You can have your boat in the garage or whatever.
Right. You might want to park your lawnmower there for your garden. It's late. Okay, we don't need a site walk. All right. First of all, I entertain a motion. Well, first of all, are there any questions or comments from the public on this site 41 Hemlock Street, Lot 1. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Mike, seconded by Eric. Roll call vote.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum, aye.
KG Dudley, aye. Thank you. I will entertain a motion to issue the, where are we? Gosh, sorry, I just got lost in the agenda. 11. To issue for 41 Hemlock Street with the standard conditions. I'm sorry, just looking at the erosion controls are going to be in place. Clearing inside the amended clearing lines.
With
I
the
think that's
proposed
it.
changes
With the proposed changes as
discussed, right? Moving-
as discussed, moving the clearing, moving in the limit of clearing.
So moved.
Excuse me.
Motion made by Mark, seconded by Eric. Roll call vote.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum, aye.
KG Dudley, aye. Thank you very much, Margaret.
Okay, and Steve, I'll get the revised plans sometime during the week. Okay. All right, very good.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks.
Oh, that was a discussion. Thank goodness. Did I have an ad for Hemlock? No. Okay, great. So 12, request for determination of applicability of pine, sand, and stone, 1 Lockheed Dam Road guardrail installation. I do have that one. Town of Douglas Conservation Commission, 29 Depot Street, legal notice for public meeting, RDA. The Town of Douglas Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting for pine, sand, and stone on May 8th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the Municipal Center, 29 Depot Street, for work to be done pursuant to the Town of Douglas Wetland Bylaw and the Wetland Protection Act. Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40. The proposed request for determination of applicability work location is 1 Lackey Dam Road, Douglas, Mass. And the applicant is requesting permission to install guardrail along an existing roadway due to an existing safety hazard. Please come up and talk to us. Name and address for the record.
Andy Leonard from Pine Sand Murray's, Bristol's up on the screen. So if everybody remembers, MSHA, who's the OSHA of mine safety, they had a new inspector from Pennsylvania because all the coal mines are closed, came up and issued a violation, which we've been driving over that since 2003. He is now no longer in the area, but the violation has stuck. So our best path to resolve it is to install guardrail for approximately 100 feet in length on 2 sides and keep it due to the narrowness of the crossing. And OSHA is fine with that. We're currently have the road closed till we resolve the violation with MSHA.
Okay.
That's where it's at.
You get everyone should have the detailed photos, the write-up, colored map, as discussed in the meeting before.
So our intent would be to per Art Allen's recommendation, the previous meeting, to drive them, so we're really only impacting 6-inch square.
That it's actually driven into.
Yeah.
Not unlike the Eagle Scout project.
He did a good job.
You did.
Board. Any thoughts?
No comment.
Anyone in the general public to comment on the RDA for Pine, Sand, and Stone 1 Lackey Dam Road? I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Mike. Seconded by Eric. Roll call vote.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum, aye.
KG Dudley, aye.
All set?
No, I still have to vote on the actual item.
Oh, it's an RDA.
Right, so I would entertain a motion to issue a negative.
All right.
So moved.
Motion made by Mark,
Second.
seconded by Mike. Roll call vote.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum, aye.
KG Dudley, aye. Thank you.
Thank
Now you're all set.
Have a great night.
All right, thank you. Item 13, old business, public meeting continued, request for determination of applicability of 45 Martin Road, Southwick Brook, which is an intermittent stream determination, map 169, lot 23.
So they just submitted some documentation today and requested a certificate, continuation to the 22nd,
Oh,
until we had a chance to review the documentation.
oh, that's wonderful. I'll entertain a motion to continue this public here. Wait, do I have? Oh, it was already continued. I'll entertain a motion to continue this hearing. Motion made by Eric.
Second.
Seconded by Mark. Roll call vote.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum, aye.
KG Dudley, aye. Excellent, we'll talk about that again. And then, that's all we have. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Motion made by Mike. Second by Eric. Roll call vote.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum, aye.
KG Dudley, aye. Thank you. The meeting is closed.
So